Hey, what's up guys? I hope you're doing well. And for this video, we're featuring the first PHOIBOS watch on my YouTube channel. Now this is a micro brand that I've actually followed for a long time, and I would characterize them as making some very nicely designed dive watches with good specifications for fairly affordable prices. So on the wrist today, we're taking a look at their new Kraken model, the PY059E. This is in their lava red colorway, but they're going to have some other cool dial options available as well. And the full retail price for this particular timepiece comes in at $499 US, though there might be a pre-launch sale for this particular watch. And I have to say, my first impressions getting this watch in the hand were actually quite good. So why don't we flip perspectives now, and you guys can take a closer look at this Kraken watch in the studio. So now that we're in the studio, we can take a closer look at this PHOIBOS Kraken, which again has the reference number PY059E, and the E designates the lava red color option. And you're going to have a couple of different color options to play with when this watch is released later. They're going to do like a tropic green, I think there's a reef blue, and even a nice midnight purple to consider. Now all of those watches are going to have the same nicely brushed case and bracelet done in 316L stainless steel. They're going to have the screw down crown with 200 meters of water resistance. Now I would like to be fully transparent that PHOIBOS did send in this watch into the channel for free, and I don't have to return it after the video concludes. But I do want to try and stay objective when going over the features for this particular watch. And even though this is called the Kraken, the proportions for this diver are actually fairly compact and would suit a large different number of wrist sizes. So across the case, I measured the diameter at 40 millimeters. Looking at the side profile, I only measured the wingspan or the lug-to-lug distance at 47.6 millimeters. Overall thickness comes in at 11.8 millimeters, which is actually quite slender. And that's from the bottom of the screwed down case pack, which I'll give you guys a better shot of in a second, and then to the top of a double domed sapphire crystal, which does have 3 layers of anti-reflective treatment on the underside, although given the high gloss nature of the dial and the sapphire being slightly domed, you're going to get a little bit of reflections. Now between the lugs is an even 20 millimeters for the scales style bracelet, which is very nicely constructed and fully brushed, and it tapers to about 18 millimeters before you hit the newly designed PHOIBOS clasp, which does have their logo and a twin trigger releasing mechanism. I'll also mention that individual links for the bracelet are held in place with slot screws for easy sizing, and you have a nicely milled out swing arm section here. Let me just show you guys the case back, because very nice oil pressed engraving of that Kraken monster taking down a cargo ship. And I also wanted to show you guys the solid end links, because on the underside of these end links there's quick release spring bars if you want to swap out this bracelet for a strap. But I think the bracelet's probably the way to go. On the underside you even have this push button slider for on-the-fly micro extension, so you can actually give yourself some incremental relief when you wear this watch throughout the day. Now here's a quick in-studio wrist shot, just to show you how well this watch would wear on a 7.5 inch wrist size, which is 19 centimeters in circumference if you use the metric system. Sits nicely planted and fairly low on the wrist. And this package, sized up for my wrist size, weighs in at 164 grams. So with this particular Kraken release, the dial texture is really the star of the show. It's a nice fume pattern that also has a radial hydraulic pattern. And because this is the lava red colorway, it really does look like magma that just spews out and propagates out from the center of a dial and then it gets to a darker black color when you reach the very periphery, where you have nicely applied indices that are brushed on the outsides and then deep filled with super luminova, either BGW9 or the combination of C3. And I really like the radial brushing that's done on the hands as well. So even though it's completely brushed, it does border the hands quite nicely. And the handset and the loom pip triangle at the bezel is also deep filled with either C3 or BGW9 super luminova. And I'll show you guys a low light shot now too, because I will say that I don't think PHOIBOS disappoints in the loom department when it comes to their dive watches. Although the C3 to me on the hands does glow a bit brighter than the BGW9 that's found on the applied indices. Now, the other applied element that I really like on this dial is their logo just below the 12 o'clock position. And you also have a nicely framed date cutout just above the 6 o'clock. So you do have some nice symmetry that is there. And you will note that it does say automatic and 200 meters just above the date. In terms of the automatic movement powering this watch, they went with a 9 series Miyota movement, which is really nice to see at this price point. A Miyota 9015 that gives you just over 40 hours of power reserve. It has hack and hand wind, beats away at 4 Hz and pivots on 24 joules. Anecdotally, this watch is keeping pretty good time at only about +8 or 9 seconds per day, which is really good to see. And all this is operated through the screw down crown, which is nicely knurled, and unthreading it quite easy. You can see that the PHOIBOS logo is also found on the crown, and then if you pull it out to the intermediate position, you can quickly cycle your date, and then if you pull it all the way out, you can hack the balance, thereby stopping the seconds hand, and then you can set this watch to any reference time that you like. Now, also being a dive watch, I like the fact that they went with a fully indexed diver's bezel, which is unidirectional with 120 clicks. You can see it's kind of got some shallow scalloped out patterns here to actually grip the bezel. Let's listen to the action. This is a very satisfying bezel, very prominent and pronounced clicks, no backplay at all, and the alignment is also very good. So really can't fault the bezel. I like that it's a stainless steel insert and kind of brushed to match the overall brushing that's done on the case, which is done to a very high detail. You have these lyre style brushing on the lugs, and then some nice vertical brushwork on the sides of the case. And even the scales bracelets, while completely brushed, give off some nice light play. So you're getting some really good finishing, great water resistance, good legibility, and a cool dial pattern when you're considering a dive watch that's sub $500. Now, are there any potential points for improvement? For me, I just have some minor things that I could potentially critique. One is I wish that they used a completely flat sapphire crystal, so it would aid in the extreme viewing angles and wouldn't give off as many reflections. And secondly, while I do appreciate the dual loom application, which is visually interesting, I kind of wish they were consistent and just used C3 throughout and just blasted those indices with it, so you get very good orientation even in zero lighting conditions. But outside of that, huge fan of this particular Kraken model from PHOIBOS. And if you guys have any questions or comments, please do leave them in the comment section of this video. I'd love to know your thoughts on this latest release. And if you guys do enjoy this content, please consider subscribing to the channel. It really does help me out. And as always, I can't wait to catch you guys in the next review.